Hello and welcome to 28 Years Without Avatar. I'm your host, JC. I'm 28 years old, haven't seen Avatar, but we're finally going to change that. Welcome to the first episode. All right. Welcome to the first episode, guys. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to finally do this. This has been in the works for a while. It's been a passion project I've wanted to do all year. I had it in my New Year's resolutions back in 2025 to be like, I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to watch Avatar, finally give it a shot. And I appreciate you so much for being here. Seriously, if you found this little corner of the internet, whether you're listening on Apple, whether you're listening on Spotify, or you're listening on YouTube, or you're listening on something else that I haven't even heard of, and somehow it just made its way to you, welcome. I am very stoked to do this. And I have now watched my first episode ever of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And it feels crazy to finally say that, but it happened. Book 1, Episode 1, The Boy in the Iceberg. Let's talk about it. So first initial thoughts on the show is, man, I should have watched another one. Like, I didn't know how this was going to be structured. I didn't know it was going to be a to be continued in episode 1. I don't know if all the episodes do that, but it is what it is. Again, I'm very blind going into this. I really don't know much about this show at all on the scale of things, and I'm very stoked to see where it's going to go. But yeah, I wanted more. It was getting really, really good, and oh my God, like we're about to get to some sort of confrontation maybe. Like he's after them, and he's like looking in the spyglass, and he sees them in the distance, and it's like, okay, we're waiting to the next one. Got it. But yeah, overall, the thing that surprised me so much about it was that just from the get-go, it was way more character-centric and intimate than I was expecting. I've always heard Avatar is the show that has people that are like, again, like water bending and air bending and all that kind of stuff. And so I just assumed that it would be more, I don't want to say the word political, but like more of like a Game of Thronesy type thing where you're seeing different set pieces in different places of the world. And that episode 1 might be setting up all of those different things in all these different areas. But no, episode 1 was very simple. It started out, just to give a bit of a recap, it started out with Sokka, I believe is his name, and Katara, hopefully I said that right, fishing for I think they were fishing for their village in the South Pole, and them just stumbling across Aang frozen in this cryo sleep underneath the Arctic or whatever. Like that's so cool. Like it was very mysterious, and it sets the stage with a couple of characters that there's not like a big ensemble cast or anything like that. That's what I'm trying to say. Like nothing, it's not overwhelming me with like a bunch going on. It's being very simple. It's like, hey, 2 people are in their little boat. It's really cold. They're looking for some fish. I think that's what they're doing. And they stumble onto something special, which I assume is Aang, right? I assume Aang obviously is like the Avatar and stuff like that. But yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be like that just intimate and that simple of a start. And I thought it was super interesting that Katara, I did not expect Katara to be the only waterbender. Like when I first started the episode and I was like, oh, okay, like she's doing some water powers or whatever. That's cool. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm finally seeing like waterbending from the very get-go of the show a little bit. I didn't expect her to be like, oh, I'm literally the only one of my tribe that can waterbend or something to that effect, or one in the South, the only one in the South Pole, she said. So that was a shock too, because again, I just assumed this show was like everyone has powers. I assumed that it's like, no, like you're born a waterbender or you're born a firebender or you're born, name your bender here, right? I didn't think it would be a thing where it's like, oh, no, only some people can do it. Only some people have that power. Maybe you train up to get that power. Maybe it's like, is it something you're born into? I don't really have an answer to that question yet. Like, is it something you're born into? Is it something that you can practice and get skilled at to be able to do it? And everyone has the potential. Like, do you awaken to it? Like almost like a persona thing or something? Like, I don't know. But I definitely, after like watching like the intro, and I watched the intro one more time before filming this pod today. But like the way I understand the show so far is that the Avatar is someone that can wield everything. And even Zuko, I believe is his name, right? The prince character. It's really like rough and he's definitely got some angst going on, right? Zuko, like I love his scar, by the way. His scar is so freaking cool, dude. Like just off the rip, like he just looks like he's been through it. Like what the heck happened to him? But he literally says like, oh, I need to get stronger and I need to get better because the Avatar has the power of 4 elements, right? And he's like, I need to be the best I can possibly be at fire techniques to go up against him. And I'm like, okay, so the Avatar has 4 elements, but Aang definitely only has 1. So I think, unless Aang has more within him or something, I'm not really sure how that's going to work. And what that means exactly. And like, are there multiple avatars? Like, are there, like, I don't understand how the whole avatar thing works quite yet. Like they mentioned it at the lore at the start. Aang, like, you know, obviously like it seems very special and very important. And I mean, from the flashback thing that we saw in this episode too, like there's a moment when Aang is sleeping and he wakes up from like a nightmare. And I'm pretty sure the nightmare was a flashback of him like solidifying the ice in the water, like literally solidifying the ice and putting himself in cryo to maybe protect him and Appa. And again, that like solidifying yourself in ice, was that him using water bending powers in that moment? And he subconsciously did that. Like, is he not fully awakened to water bending powers yet? But he like did it that one time and then that caused him to go into this cryo sleep for a long time. Not really sure. Again, I think we're going to have to see more about that. Also, the whole like Aang has like this sort of, I'm looking at right now, like on the Netflix like thumbnail, but he's got this sort of arrow, right? Like on his forehead. And he's got it, I think even more on his like arms because Katara saw it in that one scene. And that makes me question as well. Does like Katara know what Aang is? Like, does she know that he is more special? I think she kind of does. Like, I think it's definitely implied she does, I think, unless I missed something. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like what else happened in this episode. It's like we stumble across Aang. We see the dynamics between Sokka and Katara and seeing their sort of like, there's sort of like brother and sister vibes that they got going on. And like, definitely they get annoyed by each other a little bit. And it definitely seemed like Katara could potentially be really strong with waterbending powers when she really gets into it, but she hasn't quite maybe learned how to master it quite yet because Aang's like, I can teach you, we'll figure it out. And it's like, okay, it's very nice of you to just, you were in cryo for 100 years and you're like, no worries, I'll give you some help. Let's go figure it out. Let's go on an adventure together. I just love the sort of like innocence to it. Like it's really cute. Like honestly, there's not too many characters yet in the show, but just from the beginning, having Aang just sort of appear and just bring like joyful innocence to the village like that quickly in the first episode, I think is just, it's a really good move. It lets you already like Aang as a character. And it's like, okay, who is Aang? I'm not quite sure, but he definitely brings like a happiness and a positivity to the village, at least with his like youthful energy, like his innocence in a weird way. But again, how innocent is he actually? Is there more underneath the surface there? Is there more stuff that he's letting on? I'm not quite sure. And also just like what happened 100 years ago? The nations weren't at war 100 years ago, and now they are. Maybe like when he got cryo frozen, it was like right when that war started and he didn't even really realize that was going to happen. Where's his people? Like that kind of stuff. Like where did he come from? What is happening there? There's just a lot of questions I have like that where it's like, okay, you're an airbender. Why did you end up here? Why did you end up in the water in the South Pole, which I assume is maybe more of a water bending location? Like what happened to get you there? And maybe we'll find out over the course of the show and we'll see a little bit more on that past. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like the main topic points to hit on this. And again, definitely let me know, by the way, in the comments of the podcast or on YouTube or wherever you watch me, what you guys would like me to talk about with each and every single episode. Do you like, big predictions? Do you like doing a tier ranking of things. Like, what would you guys want to see for this podcast? Because going forward, I want it to evolve and I want it to be what you guys want to hear. This one I'm kind of riffing because it's episode 1 and I just want to give my like pure thoughts like from initially watching it. But definitely let me know like what you would like me to talk about. If there's anything you want me to always like hit on every single episode with like the format, give me some thoughts on that. Give me some feedback. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about a surprising, maybe a surprising MVP star of the show that was really cute. Appa? What the heck is an Appa? What is that? Right? What the heck is this thing? It was frozen in the ice with him. So not only is Aang, like I know this episode's called The Boy and the Iceberg, but it's really the boy and this bison. He said it was a flying bison. That's what he said. So there's the boy and this flying bison that were together and were cryo frozen for 100 years. What the heck is an Appa? Where does Appa come from? What the heck is that? Appa's cute though. I do like Appa. I love myself like a just a really weird creature in a show, like just a really weird like animal, or I don't want to say like a pet because it might not be like more of a pet, but just like something like some animal is always like cool to have because there's just something that we all endearingly love about animals, where it's just like kind of cute that they exist and they can also be our companions, right? And that was a companion I didn't expect to see right out of the gate with Aang. Like, yeah, I have this giant thing that that flies. Okay, like we can just do that. All right, so does that mean that's our main source of travel going forward? And is that the mission? Is let's get Katara to find the North Pole and we're gonna fly all the way over there? How long does that even take? How big is this world? So many freaking questions there. But Appa's cute. I really like Appa. I like the name Appa too. That's a very cute name. And yeah, I just like the dynamics of this, and I like seeing, again, we didn't get a lot, but we got scrapes of lore. We got the lore drop at the beginning, which is probably the most of it. But we definitely have this sort of implication that the Fire Nation, let's get into that for a little bit. The Fire Nation is some sort of aggressive force, and Prince Zuko and this older gentleman that's with him, I forgot his name right now. I apologize. But the one that's like, I'm going to eat right now. I'll train you, but first I need to eat. I'm like, respect. That's real. I would do the same. Like I can't do that on an empty stomach. No way. That was funny. I really like that scene. There's a lot of humor in this, like on both sides, seeing, the water village here, and then also like seeing Zuko and this older character, even though they seem kind of like the villains, there's a little bit of like humor to it, which I really like. I like that there's something to like about them, even though they are the villains, if that makes sense. At least I think they're the villains. Like it feels like that. If they're chasing after them, they're like, I gotta find him and all that kind of stuff. So it definitely seems like they're an aggressive force. Getting back to that, it definitely seems like they're an aggressive force. It definitely seems like they're on the search for the Avatar. Why are they doing that? What's exactly the reason? Prince Zuko seems to have some family maybe drama too, because Prince Zuko, like there might be something there, like who's he the prince of, right? Like, or like, who's his dad, like all that kind of stuff. Like they could do something with that potentially. I will say I did like seeing like the sort of, it was like a warship that was frozen in ice. And I said this when I was like live reacting to it, but it definitely reminds me a lot, like seeing like the Fire Nation flag on the warship and stuff. It reminded me of Star Wars a little bit. It reminds me a little bit of just the Empire sort of having like a dominance, right? And the rebels, right? Or the water village, right? Like the other tribes, the other benders might be a little bit more on the back foot, kind of like the rebels are in A New Hope. It's like, yeah, like you see warships, and again, I'm comparing the warship thing that's in the ice to seeing like a Star Destroyer or something like that. I know it's a little bit different. This is definitely smaller than a Star Destroyer, but it gave me a vibe of something like that. Like, oh, this is some, this is a big warship thing that decimated us in the past, and we hate this place, and it gives us the creeps and everything. Like, I think that it just reminds me of Star Wars and the very early days of Star Wars, which I like a lot. And I think they did a good job with that. It definitely feels like the Fire Nation is the oppressive force, and there's a lot of history and trauma to unpack with that. And yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like, I'm curious how dark this show gets. how dark does it get in the sense of, okay, we're talking about war. It's not just a thing of like, hey, we all have like powers. And it's not even we all have powers. Apparently not that many people have powers. There was definitely more firebending people in this episode because we saw Zuko training with a couple of people that were firebending. But so far, we've only seen Aang with air powers, and we've only seen Katara with water powers, and Zuko and a couple of trainees that were with him with fire powers. That's about it. That's all we've seen. And the people in the village didn't look like they had water powers, right? And she said as much. So again, I didn't realize that there was this sort of feeling of a scarcity, and there's a feeling of a war that's been going on, and it might be more like remnants of that war that we're dealing with, not like a thing where it's like, oh, the full force of everything. Everyone's using powers and fighting each other. It's more like, hey, maybe in some ways the war's already lost. That could be an interesting thing. Like the war's already kind of like donezo in a way, and it's more about us picking up the pieces and finding what we can to fight back. Maybe again, just spitballing here, just riffing, but. Yeah, I thought that was interesting because I didn't expect that. And I don't know with a cartoon like this, with an anime like this, like how in depth and how mature are they going to go down the route of what war does to people and does to, obviously like humanity and things like that. Are they going to really talk about like character deaths and people in the past that died and stuff like that? Maybe it is a little bit more mature than I was thinking. That could be interesting. Again, this was something that it aired on like Nickelodeon back in the day. Like that's pretty crazy if it's a little bit more mature than I thought. So I like that aspect a lot because I think there's a lot to chew on there, and they've teased enough of it. Where I'm like, okay, we're definitely gonna get more about that. I want to know more. I want to know more about like what happened 100 years ago. What's the war? Why did these nations why were they not able to work together? Why does Katara have powers, and why does she not have like she doesn't really feel like she's in control of her powers that much. Like there's so many things that could happen. They planted a lot of seeds, which is very cool. They planted a lot of seeds and a lot of things that I already am like, okay, I could theorize about this. Like we could theorize and talk about this episode to episode, and I'm getting pretty excited just thinking about it. So yeah, I would say Appa's my MVP. Really, really like how intimate this episode was, like for an episode 1. And it went by so fast. Like I pressed start recording and I stopped recording and it was already over. I was like, oh man, this is going to be wild. But again, that's the whole point, is that this is something weekly that you guys are going to be able to listen to and hopefully be able to relive maybe something that's one of your favorite childhood shows. And hopefully I can give you some nostalgia by doing this for the first time. Live vicariously through me, because I truly don't know what the heck I'm watching and what's going on. The penguins were cute. We can all say that the penguins were cute. The penguins with the four flaps, the 4 wings. Do penguins have wings? Is that how it works? What would you call them? There got to be wings, right? Flippers? I don't know what a penguin has. It's a wing or a flipper. I don't know. It's something. It's something, man. But yeah, I would say we're going to start doing this episode to episode. I almost want to refrain from doing this on the first episode because I really don't know too much yet. But favorite characters so far. How about that? All right, let's do like a favorite character tier ranking before we go. And then we can talk about what you guys want to see for the next discussion for episode 2. But for favorite characters so far out of the gate, out of episode 1, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to say Aang. Seeing Aang in this episode and just being so curious about his backstory and being so curious about like, where does he come from? And sort of him bringing this like happiness to the village that quickly. Again, I bet it's going to run into some trouble at some point. I bet some of his sort of like happy-go-lucky kind of aura to him might run into some problems. But I just like find it so endearing, like out of the gate. I just think it's very endearing to have that like as his character right away. And it's also just kind of refreshing because a lot of shows I feel like are so damn depressing nowadays. And so having that right out of the gate and just being like making me laugh. It got a couple of chuckles out of me, and where he's like, come closer. Do you want to go sledding? It's like, okay, we're doing that. Okay. He's like this, got it. I will say there is that one moment where he's like, Katara breaks the news to him. Hey, I think you've been in ice for 100 years. And he's like, what? What happened? Like what? And I'm just over here like, dude, take all the time you need in the world to process that. if you were in ice for 100 years, that's like a Captain America moment. That means that people are dead probably. That means like I would be freaking out. Like that is an existential dread waiting to happen, like a panic attack. And although it did hit him in that moment, he did kind of pick himself up pretty quickly and was like, okay, let's go. Let's keep walking. I'm like, dude, you might need more of a second than that. That was like, I don't know. I don't know if he's fully okay. He might be hiding it a little bit more because that is a heavy thing to just deal with out of the gate. Again, we don't know what his situation was too much before he got frozen and how that even happened really. But I don't know. That's a lot. That's a dark thing to deal with. And maybe he disguises some of his happiness with some darker feelings there. And maybe we'll hear more about that in the future. But I'm going to say Aang is my favorite character in this episode so far. Next up is definitely Katara. If I said her name right, sorry, I'm going to have to get used to how to say the names. I'll get them in time, I promise. I just think that like it was cool seeing how excited she was to hang out with Aang like right away, and that was really endearing. I like her water bending powers. Like I just want to see where that goes. So I think I'm like really interested to see how that works, and like the whole concept of her being like, oh, I'm the only one that can water bend in my tribe. Like I just love that kind of stuff. Like it's just so fun. Like there's definitely something weighing on her shoulders about that, and I can't wait to see more. Sokka, I think I need more time with. Sokka was definitely kind of just like angry the whole episode because you're just getting annoyed of like, why did we do this? Why did we find this person in the ice? What are we doing? Oh my God. Like we need to be not playing around right now, which is fair, but I need to definitely see more. It was funny. It got some chuckles out of me, but that's what I would say is like, probably let's go like top 4 because there's not too many characters in this episode. Top 4 is like Aang, Katara, maybe Zuko because Zuko looks cool. I like how Zuko looks, even though I don't really know too much yet. He's got some angst going on, but he looks cool though. I can't wait to see like more of his powers and stuff. That's sick. And then after that, maybe Sokka after that, or maybe the older gentleman that was with Zuko, and his name again I don't know, but I'm sure I'll know in the future. But he was funny, so maybe him. Maybe honorable mention to him. That was good, and that's my 4 or 5. And Appa just is MVP. That's the tier ranking today. Okay. Appa MVP, Aang, Katara, Zuko, Sokka. I think I'm naming everyone correctly. I believe. That's it. That's the first episode of 28 Years to Avatar. We are slowly beginning our journey to find the Avatar, I guess, right? Wow, that actually kind of worked out crazy. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening today. I hope I made your Mondays ever brighter with whatever you're doing, whether it's work or school or whatever you got going on. We will be back next Monday on all podcast platforms that you know and love. And if you're curious, you absolutely do not have to at all because all these podcasts are going to be free. But if you want to watch along with us and watch my actual live reaction of my face reacting to the episode, if you want, and this was very much requested before I did this, people were like, JC, don't just do your journal entry talking about the episode. JC, can we see the reaction as well? I did make a Patreon, and I'm not promoting it so hard, but I made a Patreon where you can go and sign up and get the raw footage and watch it with me every week if you want. Only if you want to. It's no pressure or anything like that at all, but you could probably check that out in the link down below. It's JC Backfire on Patreon. And I will have day and date every single time one of these episodes comes out. There will be a watch-along episode where you can sync it up with your own footage on Patreon and watch with me first if you want to before you listen to the podcast that goes out everywhere. So, yeah, that's going to be it from me. This is the first episode. Let me know what you want to see on the future episodes of this show. I cannot wait to keep going. It's going to be a long ride, but I am stoked, and I can't wait to have you guys here for it. So thanks so much, guys. I hope you have a good one. Have a good rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.